Hey everyone, and welcome. Today, we're jumping into something that's literally all around us, every single day: popular culture. We're going to explore the really powerful and often invisible forces that shape the entertainment we love and, the very lives we lead. So let's kick things off with a little puzzle. Your favorite song, a national holiday like Thanksgiving, and a superhero comic book. On the surface, what could they possibly have in common? Well, it turns out they're all connected by this huge concept that organizes our world in ways we barely ever stop to notice. And that concept is, you guessed it, popular culture. Okay, here's how we're going to break this all down. First, we need to tackle the word culture itself. Then, we'll dig into the hidden layer underneath it, something called ideology. We'll look at that idea through 5 totally different lenses. And then we'll put it all together to finally answer the big question: what is pop culture? All right, first things first. To really get a handle on popular culture, we have to start with the word culture. Now, we throw this word around all the time, right? But it's actually one of the most complicated words out there. So let's unpack what it really means. The cultural theorist Raymond Williams said we can think about culture in 3 main ways. First, there's the high-minded stuff, what you might call high culture: philosophy, classical music, fine art. Second, culture is a particular way of life. This is the stuff we all do: our obsession with sports, our religious traditions, our holidays. And third, culture is made up of works and signifying practices. That's just a fancy way of saying all the things that carry meaning, like the kind of music you love or the movies you can't stop watching. But here's the key. All of this is just the tip of the iceberg. It's the part we can actually see.
So that raises a really important question, doesn't it? If that's the what of culture, what's the why? What are the deeper forces that actually shape that way of life and decide what all those things mean to us? Well, to answer that, we've got to go below the surface.
And this is where we get to our second huge idea: ideology. If culture is the visible tip of the iceberg, then ideology is the massive hidden part underwater. You can almost think of it as a society's operating system, running in the background, quietly shaping our beliefs and values without us even realizing it. So what does that really mean? Well, ideology is basically a system of ideas that gives culture a political edge. It's the force that takes our shared way of life and infuses it with power and values. A perfect example is the American dream. The idea that anyone can succeed if they just work hard enough. That single ideology shapes countless movies, songs, and political speeches. It's so much more than just a simple story.
But here's the thing. Ideology isn't just one simple concept. Not at all. Different thinkers have seen it in very different ways. So to get a much richer picture of how this thing actually works, we're going to look at it through 5 distinct lenses.
Okay, this is where it gets really interesting. For James Kavanagh, it's pretty straightforward. Ideology is just a group's shared system of ideas, like the common belief that family is important. Karl Marx, on the other hand, saw it as a kind of mask, something that hides economic power. He called it false consciousness. Just think about how ads constantly link buying stuff to the idea of being happy. Bertolt Brecht thought about it in terms of what a movie or a play is trying to sell you. For instance, most action movies sell the idea that violence is an effective way to solve problems. Louis Althusser argued that ideology lives in our daily routines. The simple act of going to work every day reinforces a whole bunch of ideas about our role in society. And finally, Roland Barthes said ideology's greatest trick is making cultural ideas feel completely natural. The idea that certain colors are for boys and others are for girls feels natural to many, but it's a purely cultural creation.
All right, so now we have the 2 key pieces of our puzzle. We've got culture, which is our shared way of life, and we've got ideology, that hidden political dimension. Now we can finally put them together to see the whole picture.
And really, it's almost like an equation. You take culture, all our shared stuff, you add ideology, that system of ideas that gives it all meaning and power, and what does that equal? Popular culture. That's it. Popular culture is simply the active, buzzing space where our everyday lives and these deep ideologies meet, clash, and mix. So what's the big takeaway from all this? It means the movies we watch, the songs we stream, the memes we share, they are not just passive entertainment. They're actually the main battleground, where ideas about our world, about what's right, what's wrong, what's fair, and what's possible are constantly being fought over and reshaped.
Which brings us right back to Roland Barthes' point about ideology making cultural things seem natural. So I'll leave you with this to think about. What ideas in the pop culture you enjoy every day seem completely normal, completely natural, but might actually be cultural creations designed to shape how you see the world? It's a fascinating way to look at things. Thanks for joining me for this one.